All right, y'all. So my girl Marcy, is here behind the camera. She about to ask me some questions, and let's just get straight into it. How are you feeling, Marcy?
I'm feeling good. Chill. Had a nice hike.
That part.
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's the questions for today, love?
Shoot, there's a whole range of questions. So, I mean, we can really get into it.
I love that.
Yeah, lots of women will probably need these answers. So, why do men who claim to love a woman keep hurting her?
I mean, to a certain extent, to be honest with you, if a nigga's just unhealed, he could want to love you, like he can want you, he can like claim to love you. But if he hasn't actually went to therapy and fixed the things fucking him up, like actually learned communication styles and all the other type of shit, none of that really matters, you know? Like, nigga can want you all he fucking wants, but that doesn't mean that he knows how to love you properly, how to actually be the man that you need. That's how I feel about that.
But doesn't it like take time sometimes to heal, like sticking it out with your man?
Yes and no. You know, if you guys are intentionally going after, something better, and you're like actually putting in the steps, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you know that you guys have childhood traumas and issues and stuff like that, are y'all going to therapy and shit like that? Are y'all actually like making steps forward? Or are y'all just having the same conversation over and over again? Like, I'm not telling you like healing has to be perfect, like they're gonna get it right the first time, but there should be progression. Like, it should not be the same thing happening over and over again. That shit ain't right. That's not healing. You think that's healing?
No.
Right.
What if like you can't afford therapy, right? Or time is tight? What's another way to like, work through things?
If you can't afford to go get a therapist or some shit like that, then it's not wise to be trying to work through it with your partner while they're also dealing with the same thing, because you guys are just there's no balancing in that. If you don't have the money to go for a couples therapy and all that other type of shit, then you need to be accountable for yourself and yourself first and foremost, because it's going to be hard trying to guide or lead somebody else through something and they're suffering from the same shit you are. So like, if you don't have the money to go get a therapist, then you just need to go take out that pen and paper and be real fucking honest with yourself. What happened? Because it's crazy enough, I think a lot of us can do a lot of healing on our own. A lot of us don't need therapists for the shit. We're just running from ourselves. A lot of us have avoidancy issues. A lot of us.
So are you saying like the trauma, if the trauma is different, that it will be okay to be with someone if it doesn't look the same?
What do you mean if the trauma doesn't look the same?
Like if two people have trauma and they're trying to heal and connect together, does the trauma, like, for example, how you have avoidance and then you have anxious attachments, right? And they connect and then they feed into the need to avoid, the need to be anxious. For example, if there's two people that both have anxious attachments, how is that like the same trauma because it's being shown the same way, it's expressed the same way, or is it? Yeah,
usually, but I usually don't see two anxious individuals getting attracted to each other, because typically the anxious individual, the only reason that they're attracted to the avoidant is because of how emotionally stable they are, how secure they seem to be in the moment, how grounded they are to be like, damn, he isn't as anxious, he isn't as la, and they're attracted to that sense of, presence. Vice versa, the only reason that avoidant is attracted to that anxious is because of how giving and shit that they are, It's like a balancing act. If there's two anxious individuals within something, it could possibly work. That's better than two avoidant individuals, because if it's two people being avoidant in a relationship, there's no relationship. But those two anxious individuals, they're going to start triggering each other, and they're not going to know when enough is enough, because they're going to be so stuck in their emotions and trying to get to the root of it in the moment. Literally a spider flew on me, but they're going to be stuck in the moment and trying to figure out their emotions so much that they're never going to chill out, if that makes sense. There's going to be instances where I feel like shit and I want to talk about it right now. And then the other person is going to be like, well, what the fuck, what do you mean? No, and they're just going to, you get what I'm saying? It's like an emotional charge.
Yeah.
That's usually not healthy, but it could work because at least both of them give a fuck.
Right. Like, yeah. So is it more about the intention more so than the trauma itself? Because like a lot of black people, a lot of people in general have trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you just hit it right on the nail, Queen.
Okay.
It's always been intention. Because what's the difference between two people who both grow up with two kids, right? They both have abusive parents, same mother, same father. One child grew up to be abusive just like the parents. The other child grew up to never abuse their child in the ways that they've seen growing up. That was solely came down to intention. They both had the same trauma because they saw the same shit. They went through the same shit. But how they internalized it and the decision that they got to at the end, completely different. Solely based upon intention. The one who did better, that's usually because he intentionally did better. Or she did better. Looked at their parents and was like, fuck that, I'm not redoing that.
Right.
The other one didn't have that level of intentionality. So it's always been about intention, because trauma can always be healed, because we didn't come here with trauma. So that our trauma is not us. Our intentions are, though, because that's a direct representation of our character.
Right. That's real.
Yeah.
So how do you tell the difference between a trauma bond versus being like vulnerable?
That's actually kind of touching. And the reason why I say this is because when you're vulnerable, you're receptive to a lot of shit, and you're just open to a lot of different people. But trauma bond isn't necessarily the same thing as you being vulnerable. Trauma bond is, I feel safer with you because we went through the same shit. Or I'm not going to leave this situation because I've been through so much with you that I don't want to let go. Even though we're going through bullshit, I've invested so much time, so many years, I'll just stick it out. That's the trauma bond. But vulnerability is simply just you being yourself. You know, you can be vulnerable and not be like anxious and shit like that. Sometimes being vulnerable is simply saying, can I go use the restroom real quick? Vulnerability. You told the room how you were feeling in that moment. It isn't always this daunting ass thing. But a trauma bond, that's always going to be fucking daunting, because the only reason why you're putting up with it is because of history, usually. Nothing forward progressing.
Makes sense.
Nothing forward progressing. Michael? Yeah, it is.
What was that? That was your voice.
You know, I was seeing if my mic was on.
I was like, that was such a deep voice. It sounded like a robot. Okay. How do subconscious beliefs actually show up in who you attract?
What do you mean? I need a little bit more context in that. Subconscious beliefs in what way?
So, more so like insecurities or like programmings that you had as a child, things that, you know, how you can self-sabotage, stuff like that, like things that are happening.
So if you don't believe that you're worthy of love, right? Let's say one of your subconscious beliefs, you saw your parents growing up and they didn't pour into you how they should have, right? They always made you feel as if your emotions were not important, or they weren't valued enough solely because you were a child. So you were put in a child's place, right? Subconsciously, you would believe that that's just how life is and your emotions is not that important, because somebody's probably older than you, or you put them on some type of hierarchy or pedestal in your life, and that would become a subconscious belief. And the moment you get into relationships and shit like that, you start realizing you're attracting people and putting up with people who make you feel like your emotions aren't shit, but they tell you I love you every day, but their actions say and mean correlate nothing to love, but they're saying it. Or like your subconscious belief when I was like, if you don't believe that you deserve a certain type of thing, if you think inherently you're ugly, if you think inherently you don't look good and that people don't like you, don't be surprised when you end up with somebody who's not your type, or end up with somebody that you think is not physically attractive to you. Because you don't think that you deserve to get somebody who's attractive, because you don't view yourself as attractive. So it'll manifest in your options, the things that's presented to you. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, because there was like a trend of like, I think it was on Twitter, they were saying like, oh, just go for medium ugly guys, like,
Right.
and
What the
it's
fuck?
like,
Why?
what do you mean medium ugly? Like, how would you
right.
feel if
Like
someone calls you
my
medium
point, like,
ugly?
that's the stupidest shit ever. When you see your man, you should be like, oh my God, that's my man.
Right.
This nigga is gorgeous. This nigga is handsome. This nigga is
Right.
on it. You shouldn't be like, oh, he's kind of ugly. I like that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That probably says something about you. You probably think you're a little bit ugly.
Yeah, that was like a big theme because it was like, again, that fear. It's like fear mainly that it was tied to.
Because they think that if he's a little bit ugly, and that's another thing too. They be thinking that the ugly ones won't do him as dirty as the good looking ones and the ones with money. Sometimes it'd be the bummy ass niggas, the ones that be like, damn, how did he even get her? Be the same ones be dogging the fuck out of him. Because it's always been a self-esteem thing and intention, like we was talking about earlier.
What's the difference between having high standards and being unrealistic?
To be real, if your standards, now you know damn well when your standards are unrealistic. If you're coming out here talking about my man needs to make bare minimum $500,000 a year or some shit like that, you know goddamn well the niggas who's making that type of money's probably not looking at your ass right now. He's living his life. He's doing what he did to get him the $500,000. He's not looking at you right now. You have to fall in his lap damn near and cultivate him in the moment and then keep him. But if your standards is, I want a man with a job, I want a man who makes more money than me, I want that's not unrealistic. Those things are unrealistic. Unrealistic would be, I want the perfect man. He needs to be 6'5", rich, fit, emotionally intelligent, good relationship with his family, no childhood trauma, he's done healed everything. That's unfucking realistic. Thinking that you're gonna get the perfect man out of any man. That's where you could delude yourself, and then you'll start like picking at niggas who was ultimately good. They checked off about 95 out of the 100 boxes you had for that nigga, but you'll focus on the 5 little boxes that he didn't check, and then you'll judge him based upon those 5. That's when it starts becoming unrealistic. But standards can usually be met.
Yeah.
They can usually be met.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's a big thing where like self-reflection needs to come in, because like human beings are flawed, including yourself, you know?
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, you can have a lot of standards that can work, but like you probably don't meet every single thing every single time of your life. Like it just is what it is, and it's easy to you know, project things out, because, and then you don't have to focus on the things you have going on or what you don't have going on. So that makes sense. What does a generally healthy relationship feel like versus what most people are used to?
You aren't gonna be anxious and pissed off and like just down in the mud all the time. A healthy relationship looks like when you guys have issues, when you guys have problems, when you guys have like adversities, even though it's heavy, you guys work through them. And even just the fact that you're working through them, it releases a lot of pressure, and you don't end up with like a certain level of resentment. Because I think that's a lot of things too. In a lot of these relationships, we just resent the other person too much because we didn't have to say too many things too many times. We didn't have to address too many things too many times. And it becomes daunting and it becomes heavy. So every little thing that pops up in the relationship is like end all be all, you know? But when you're in a healthy relationship, even when you're triggered, there's usually a resolution behind that trigger, and you guys grow from it. If you're stagnating, if you feel like you're stagnating emotionally, that's not a good sign. And then another thing too, financially. A lot of people don't talk about that, but when you're around toxic partners, you're not gonna make as much money. You're not gonna be as focused, because the energy that they're putting into your life is gonna throw you off in other areas than just your relationship. So if you can look around and collectively say, my whole life is fucking up, look at the relationship as well too.
All right. Has a woman ever called you out on something you said online and have been right?
I don't think so. You know, the main things that I usually hear from some women sometimes is, this goes for women too. They'd be like, you know, this isn't just dudes who do this. And I want to make something very clear. Obviously, anybody can be a narcissist. It could be your mama, your daddy, it could be your brother, your sister, your cat, your dog, I don't fucking know, right? But who I'm talking to a certain individual, and I know who I'm talking to women. So the information is for them, you know? Now, a man can take my information and he can simply apply it, you know, the basis of a narcissist, a motherfucker who lacks sympathy, and all that other type of stuff, right? That can be applied to anybody. But if you're just so hyper fixated on, you know, the pronouns I'm using, you'll probably lose the message completely. So Why is your chair doing that?
I don't know.
You want to get up?
It's okay.
Or just like sit up?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't doing that this whole time. Anyway, do men actually know when they're wasting a woman's time?
110%. Queen, we know when we don't want your ass no fucking more. When the first time you turned us off, we knew. The first time you showed that sign, we knew. But a lot of times, we'll love bomb y'all, get y'all so deep into the motherfucking relationship that by the time we realize that this isn't something that we want, we're too goddamn invested, and we're going to self-preservation. We don't want to hurt your feelings, and we don't also want to fuck up our own shit because we don't want to make a premature decision like, damn, what if this lady is for me, but I'm not, where I need to be. So we'll hold on to women just to, we'll see type of instances, It's very toxic, but niggas know. That's like, I'm almost certain y'all done heard examples of it. Couples who done got married like months after that they met. That was because the man knew. Sometimes it may take a man a little bit longer to know if that's his woman, but when a man fucking knows, he knows. He's not gonna play with you.
Because like there's situations where like men will be like in like 5-8 year relationships or engagements and then get married to someone in like under a year or two.
Exactly.
So is that like where that would apply?
Exactly. When a nigga really wants it, you'll know.
Why do women with the biggest hearts attract the most broken men?
Because you guys are givers. Y'all pour too much into niggas. Y'all see dudes and then you'll be like, since I'm this high frequency, since I'm this loving, since I have this much to offer, I feel bad not helping these type of individuals. And a lot of the times when you're a giver, you're an empath, you'll make that your identity. Oh, I'm just somebody who gives. Oh, I'm just somebody who heals. I'm just somebody who helps. So subconsciously, you'll attract people who need that goddamn help. And that typically is the toxic, insecure ass man. The niggas who's struggling to pay all their bills and shit like that. She's gonna attract the dudes that, lack purpose and everything, that they struggling to stay on their feet. And it's not necessarily because, while yes, the man is looking for that subconsciously, just how you're subconsciously looking for him, but it's rooted in you, in your ability to not think that you need to fix, or it's even in your power to fix certain motherfuckers. You can be as healing as you want, tell them everything they need, be this complete angel. If that's not in their trajectory, or if that's not cards that they wanted to play, you can't do shit about that. You see, healers need to get around other healers and or protectors. Healers aren't supposed to be around people who are literally just siphoning off of it. You're supposed to give to those situations sparingly when you have the energy. You're not supposed to just give your energy out.
So as a woman that's empathetic, she should just be with men that are also that way too.
Yes, she should not be with non-empathetic men. That's the worst combo ever. Because that non-empathetic man is going to make her feel like a devil just for having emotions. She's going to feel bad for being herself. Why do I keep pouring into this person knowing that they're not good for me? Why do I keep letting them talk to me like this? All of that type shit comes up when a giver and a taker comes together, and that giver doesn't realize that they're the power in the situation. You have what the taker wants. You are ultimately in a position of power. If you get around men who are protectors, they make it easier for you to maintain that energy and keep living it out and affecting the people that you need to in your life, like your family, friends, clients, etc. But you need a secure man for that. You need an empath. You need somebody who has that spiritual discernment and that spiritual leadership, because if not, they're going to use your energy for their own life, each and every time.
Why does it feel like most men aren't empathetic?
Because most men don't give a fuck about their emotions. You see, they tell men to kill your emotions. And then they also tell you if you want to get rich, you have to kill your emotions. So what does that do to a little black boy, or like a little boy in general, when they're put in a capitalistic society where the world is telling you you need money to survive? You're looking at people struggling. You're actively at the bottom of society. And you're told the only ways that you get out of this environment, the only ways that you do make it to certain heights and certain levels, is by killing your emotions completely. If you take a kid who's already going through struggle and tell him the only way to get out of it is by turning off his emotions, what do you think is going to happen when he gets into a relationship?
Right. He's gonna just be empty and live life through that, through those lenses. And it'll only get like harder through adulthood. So, yeah. How do you know when God is redirecting you versus when you're just running away?
Because it keeps happening in your life. And it becomes harder for you to hold on. It's like you'll hold on to some shit forever and it'll continuously get harder. It's like my car, we was just talking about. Knowing I need to let it go. Knowing I need to get something different. But I'm holding on to it because I'm attached. But the longer I hold on to it, insurance going up, you know, the cost of maintenance and stuff is going up. It's costing me more than what it did initially because I just simply won't let it go. And as time goes on, you will start seeing those type of things happen in your relationships as well. Y'all keep going through breaks and certain shit like that. You'll keep catching motherfuckers cheating and all this other type of different shit. That's for a reason. God is showing you some shit and he's not going to stop showing you till you take acknowledgement of it.